This one spiritual realization will instantly change the way you see darkness. Imagine being trapped in complete darkness. No sound, no movement, no direction, just an endless void stretching in every direction. For most of us, darkness is something we fear, something we associate with suffering, uncertainty, and the unknown. But what if I told you that everything you've ever believed about darkness is wrong? What if the very thing you've spent your life avoiding is actually the key to your deepest transformation? From the moment we are born, we are conditioned to chase the light. We seek happiness, success, clarity, and love, always moving toward what feels safe, known, and comfortable. And in doing so, we develop an unconscious fear of the dark. We resist pain, we avoid struggle, we push away anything that makes us uncomfortable. But the truth is, darkness is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher. And the moment you understand this, your entire perception of life will change.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Let's start with a fundamental realization. Without darkness, light cannot exist. Think about it. If there was only light, it would be meaningless. You wouldn't even be able to see it. It is only because of darkness that light has contrast, that it has depth, that it has meaning. And this is not just a poetic metaphor. It is the structure of reality itself. Every great transformation, every profound awakening, every moment of true clarity arises from darkness. But here's where things get even deeper. Darkness is not just an external force, it is a part of you. The struggles you face, the suffering you endure, the fears you carry, these are not mistakes, they are invitations. Every time you experience darkness in your life, it is not a punishment, it is a call to awaken. The universe is not against you, it is trying to show you something that you have been unwilling to see. Think about the hardest moments of your life, the heartbreaks, the failures, the losses. At the time, they felt unbearable, but now, if you look back, you can see that they shaped you in ways that nothing else could have. They forced you to grow. They stripped away illusions. They revealed truths that you never would have found on your own. This is the hidden power of darkness. It breaks you open so that something greater can emerge. But most people never realize this. Instead, they resist. They fight against the darkness, trying to escape it, trying to numb it, trying to pretend it isn't there. And this resistance is what creates suffering. The pain itself is not the problem is your relationship to it. Imagine being caught in a storm. If you try to fight against the wind, it will exhaust you. But if you let go, if you surrender, the wind carries you. It moves you forward. This is how darkness works. It is not here to destroy you. It is here to transform you. So let me ask you something. What if you stopped running from your darkness? What if, instead of seeing it as something to fear, you saw it as something sacred? What if, in your lowest moments, you didn't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" but instead ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" Because the moment you shift your perspective, everything changes. You stop feeling like a victim of life and start seeing yourself as a participant in a greater unfold. But here's where most people get stuck. They think that embracing darkness means becoming lost in it, that if they allow themselves to fully feel their pain, they will be consumed by it. But the opposite is true. The only way out of the darkness is through it. When you sit with your pain, when you stop resisting it, when you allow yourself to fully experience it without judgment, something incredible happens. The fear dissolves, the suffering transforms, and in its place, clarity arises. This is why every spiritual tradition throughout history has emphasized the importance of facing one's darkness. The Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree and confronted every illusion of the mind. Jesus spent 40 days in the desert facing his own trials. Shamans, mystics, and seekers across time have all understood one thing. The path to enlightenment is not found in avoiding darkness, it is found in walking directly into it. So now I ask you, what darkness in your life have you been avoiding? What pain have you been suppressing? Because that is where your transformation lies. That is where your greatest awakening will come from. And the moment you stop running, the moment you turn toward it with open eyes and an open heart, you will see what has been hidden all along. The hidden gift inside every darkness, and how to find it right now. There is something inside the darkness that most people never see. Something hidden beneath the fear, the suffering, the uncertainty. It is a gift so powerful that it has the potential to change your entire life. But the reason most people never find it is because they are too busy running away. They are too busy resisting, avoiding, numbing, distracting themselves in any way possible, because they have been taught that darkness is something to escape. But what if the exact thing you've been avoiding is the key to your greatest freedom? Every painful moment, every challenge, every heartbreak, each one carries something within it, a lesson, a shift in perception, an opportunity for growth that could only be revealed through that experience. But here's the thing, the gift inside the darkness is not handed to you. You have to find it. You have to be willing to sit in the discomfort, to face what scares you, to stop looking for an exit and instead ask, what is this trying to show me? Most people never ask that question. Instead, they react. When something painful happens, they immediately seek relief. If they feel loneliness, they drown it in distractions. If they feel failure, they let it define them. If they experience loss, they close themselves off to love. And in doing so, they miss the gift. They miss the chance to let the experience transform them. Because transformation does not happen through avoidance. It happens through presence. Think about the hardest thing you've ever gone through. Maybe it was a time when everything fell apart, a relationship ended, a dream collapsed, a part of you shattered. At that moment it felt unbearable. But looking back now, can you see how it changed you? Can you see how it forced you to grow in ways that nothing else could have? Maybe it made you stronger. Maybe it revealed truths you had been blind to. Maybe it stripped away illusions and left you with something raw, something real. That was the gift. And the only reason you can see it now is because enough time has passed for you to gain perspective. But here's the secret. You don't have to wait years to find the gift inside your darkness. You can find it right now. You can train yourself to see it in every difficult situation, in every moment of struggle, in every wave of uncertainty. The key is simple. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, how is this happening for me? The moment you shift that question, your entire relationship with darkness changes. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance and start seeing yourself as an active participant in your own evolution. But let's go deeper, because even when people begin to recognize that darkness has something to offer, most still resist. They say, okay, I get it. There's a lesson here, but I just want this pain to end. And that's understandable. No one enjoys suffering. But here's where most people make a critical mistake. They think that finding the lesson means the pain will instantly disappear. It won't. The purpose of the lesson is not to remove the darkness, but to change the way you experience it. And once you change the way you experience it, the suffering that comes from resistance dissolves. Imagine being lost in a cave. At first, all you feel is fear. The darkness is overwhelming. You stumble, you panic, you feel trapped. But then something shifts. Instead of fighting against the cave, you stop, you breathe, you let your eyes adjust, and suddenly you begin to see. You notice details you couldn't see before, the shapes of the rocks, the faint glimmers of light reflecting off the walls. You realize that the cave is not trying to consume you, it is simply a space, and within that space you can move differently, you can explore, you can find a way forward. This is how it works with darkness in your life. The moment you stop fighting it, the moment you stop seeing it as an enemy, it transforms. It becomes something you can navigate, something you can learn from, something that holds wisdom instead of just suffering. So let me ask you, what if you stopped resisting? What if, instead of seeing darkness as something to escape, you saw it as something to explore? What if, in your hardest moments, you didn't collapse into fear, but instead opened your eyes wider? Because I promise you, there is something there, a hidden gift waiting to be found. The truth about darkness that no one tells you, but changes everything. There is a truth about darkness that almost no one speaks about, a truth so profound that once you understand it, your entire perception of life will change. Darkness is not what we think it is. It is not simply the absence of light. It is not a void, a mistake, or a punishment. Darkness is the birthplace of creation. It is the space where transformation begins, where the deepest truths are revealed, where the soul awakens to its own power. But because we have been conditioned to fear it, most people never allow themselves to truly experience it. Think about the way the universe works. Before anything is created, it begins in darkness. A seed must be buried in the earth before it can grow. A child develops in the womb before it is born. Stars are formed in the silent, infinite blackness of space. Every great transformation requires darkness first. And yet, when we experience darkness in our own lives, whether it's through loss, uncertainty, or suffering, we panic. We think something has gone wrong. But what if nothing is wrong? What if you are exactly where you need to be? This is the truth that no one tells you. Darkness is not a dead end. It is a portal. It is a doorway between who you were and who you are becoming. And the reason it feels so overwhelming is because transformation is not comfortable. Growth is not gentle. The process of becoming something new requires shedding the old, and that shedding often feels like destruction. But it is not destruction, it is rebirth. Yet most people never allow themselves to go through this process fully. When darkness comes, they resist. They try to escape it, numb it, distract themselves, or force themselves into the light prematurely. But when you try to bypass the darkness, you also bypass the transformation that it was meant to bring. You might climb out of it temporarily, but you will find yourself back in it again and again until you finally face what it is trying to show you. Because this is the nature of the soul, it will not let you stay small, it will keep bringing you into the spaces that force you to grow. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The reason darkness feels unbearable is not because of the darkness itself, it is because of our fear of it. Fear is what makes it heavy. Fear is what makes it suffocating. Fear is what convinces us that we are alone, lost, broken. But what happens when you remove the fear? What happens when, instead of resisting the darkness, you relax into it? Something incredible. The weight lifts, the panic dissolves, and suddenly you begin to see. Because here's another truth no one tells you. Darkness is not empty. It is full of wisdom, full of guidance, full of new possibilities that can only be seen when you stop trying to escape. The reason darkness is so powerful is because it strips away everything unnecessary. It removes distractions. It forces you to sit with yourself, to see yourself clearly, to confront the parts of you that you have ignored. And in that confrontation, something awakens. A deeper strength, a clearer vision, a truth that could never be found in the light alone. This is why the greatest spiritual teachers, mystics, and seekers throughout history have all embraced darkness. They have understood that true wisdom is not found by avoiding suffering, but by moving through it with awareness. They have walked into the unknown willingly, trusting that what they needed would be revealed when the time was right, and this is what you must do as well. Not because suffering is necessary, but because avoiding it keeps you from the fullness of who you are. So let me ask you, what if you stopped fearing the unknown? What if, instead of seeing darkness as something to escape, you saw it as a space of infinite potential? What if, in your hardest moments, you didn't try to force yourself into the light, but instead allowed yourself to sit in the stillness, to listen, to trust that something was unfolding even if you couldn't see it yet? Because I promise you, the moment you do this, everything changes. How to use darkness as a gateway to your greatest awakening. Darkness is not here to break you, it is here to awaken you. But awakening is not something that happens simply because you endure suffering. Many people experience pain and remain unchanged, trapped in cycles of despair, never seeing the deeper purpose behind what they are going through. The difference between those who are transformed by darkness and those who are consumed by it comes down to one thing. The way you engage with your darkness determines whether it destroys you or elevates you. Right now, you have a choice. You can either continue to resist the difficult moments in your life, fighting them, fearing them, numbing them, or you can decide to use them. You can decide to turn inward, to face yourself, to extract wisdom from the very experiences that once made you feel powerless. Because here's the truth, darkness is not an obstacle, it is a tool. And if you know how to use it, it becomes the most powerful force for transformation you will ever encounter. The first step is to stop seeing darkness as an enemy. Most people react to pain with resistance. The moment they feel discomfort, they try to escape it. But what if, instead of running, you leaned in? What if, instead of tensing up, you softened? The key is to allow the experience to be what it is. When you stop fighting reality, you free up energy that was once trapped in resistance. And in that space, something new can emerge. But surrendering to darkness does not mean passively accepting suffering. It means engaging with it consciously. It means asking deeper questions. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this trying to show me?" Instead of saying, "I just want this to be over," ask, "How can I grow from this?" The quality of the questions you ask determines the depth of the answers you receive. One of the most powerful ways to navigate darkness is through stillness. In our modern world, we are conditioned to seek constant distraction. We flood our minds with noise, entertainment, and endless stimulation in an attempt to avoid the discomfort of our own thoughts. But true transformation happens in silence. When you allow yourself to sit with your darkness, without judgment, without distraction, you begin to see it clearly. You begin to understand it, and in that understanding, the fear dissolves. This is why meditation, solitude, and deep introspection are essential on the spiritual path. They create the space for you to meet yourself, the real you, beyond all the layers of conditioning, beyond all the masks you wear for the world. And when you meet yourself in the darkness, something extraordinary happens. You realize that you were never truly lost. You realize that everything you were searching for was already within you, waiting to be remembered. But here's where many people get stuck. They think that finding peace in the darkness means they will never experience pain again, that once they wake up to the truth, life will be effortless, struggle-free. This is an illusion. Darkness will always be a part of the journey. There will always be challenges, setbacks, moments of uncertainty. But the difference is that once you learn how to navigate darkness, it no longer controls you. It no longer defines you. You become the one in control. Imagine walking into a completely dark room. At first you are disoriented. You can't see anything. You feel lost. But then you stop panicking. You allow your eyes to adjust. You start noticing shapes, outlines, the subtle presence of light even within the darkness. Eventually, what once felt terrifying becomes familiar. You learn how to move through it. It was just waiting for you to see. This is how it works in life. The more time you spend consciously engaging with your darkness, the less power it has over you. You stop seeing pain as something to fear and start seeing it as part of the process. You develop a deep trust in yourself, in life, in the unfolding of everything, even when you don't understand it in the moment. And when you reach this level of awareness, something incredible happens. You stop running from the unknown. You stop fearing change. You stop clinging to the illusion of control. Instead, you embrace the mystery. You welcome the unknown as a space of infinite potential. You begin to see that every challenge, every moment of suffering, every descent into darkness is actually an initiation, an invitation to step into a greater version of yourself. So let me ask you, what if you never feared darkness again? What if you saw it as a doorway rather than a dead end? What if in your hardest moments you didn't close your heart but opened it wider? Because I promise you, the moment you do, everything shifts. The suffering lessens, the clarity deepens, and you begin to move through life with a kind of freedom that can only come from knowing that no matter what happens, you are never truly lost. Darkness is not here to break you, it is here to awaken you. And the moment you embrace that truth, you step into a power that nothing can take away.